Mr. Eggplant presents.
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thanks for checking out this video. I thought I would try something visually different than I normally do here on YouTube to give you guys more information on your Marksman Hunter for Season 4, and today we're talking about trinkets. So we have one that's really good, which is right above me, which is going to be a static trinket, and then all of the others will be different options. And I'll tell you what's good for single target, for AoE, and what's good for both if you guys want to have less farming to do. But today we're talking about trinkets on your Marksman Hunter for Season 4, and this video does piggyback on my Season 4 Marksman Hunter guide, my embellishments video, and also my bullion spending video. So I hope you guys will check those out. I will put links to those down in the description near the top of the description box. So anyway, the very first trinket is going to be something you're going to want to eventually spend bullion on, which is going to be right above me here, which is Neltharion's Call to Dominance. This is our class trinket from the Echo of Neltharion fight in Aberrus. It's a very rare drop chance, so you may not ever see it out of raid, but that can be fixed by buying it with bullion. So it should be the second item you buy after the Neltharax bow. And this thing goes up to 535 if you buy it with bullion, and it's our class trinket from Neltharion, like I said. So it gives you a large amount of haste on the trinket just in general, so that it helps you get up to diminished returns on haste, which you want to get crit and haste up to diminished returns, and then dump the rest of your secondaries into literally anything else at that point. Mastery, versatility, they're all good. In fact, I don't know that we've ever had a better wealth of secondary stats for a marksman hunter, because we are absolutely feasting right now. So the way this trinket works is whenever you're attacking using abilities, you have a chance to get your arrogant stacks, which stacks up to 10. After you get up to 10, it just caps out until you use your true shot. Or if you're at 3 stacks, it will use those 3 stacks. However many stacks that you had whenever you use your true shot will give you that much agility. So let's just say for easy math, if they're giving 1,000 agility per stack, if you have 3 stacks, that's 3,000 agility or 10,000 agility, because it maxes out over 10,000, by the way. It's absolutely crazy. During your true shot, it's a 20-second buff, and it does slow you for 10%. But that's an obscene amount of main stat when you need it most, which is during true shot, and it couples very nicely with on-use trinkets like this guy over here. We'll talk about him in just a second. But the one downfall is that for example, on pull, if you don't have any stacks and you're using true shot right away like you should, you don't really get any value out of the stacking arrogant stacks. But every other true shot, you're going to do absolutely mad damage, and then it does couple with great trinkets, and it does slow you for 10%. But that slow can actually be basically negated entirely if you pick up the accelerated agility chest piece. And then it doesn't sim as high as the waking stats chest piece. It just gives you main stat and then increases your speed by 10%, which negates that entirely. But like I said, it does couple with really great on-use trinkets like this guy over here, because this is an active passive trinket, if you will, meaning you don't have to actually use it. It just pops whenever you use your big ability, which we're going to be basically sending on cooldown. And it, like I said, it does couple nicely with on use, like the Algeth'ar Puzzle Box, which is right over here. With the Puzzle Box, you get a large amount of main stat, and then you have a 3-minute cooldown on this. So unfortunately, it isn't the 2-minute that we'd hoped it would be. I wish it was. But you spend a couple of seconds to put the puzzle together, and then you get an obscene amount of mastery. Like you'll go way into diminished returns, particularly if you're running your blue silk linings with this guy. But it just increases our range of our abilities and also increases the damage of focus spending abilities. So this trinket is absolutely crazy. It sims one of the highest trinkets for both single target and for AoE. And both of these, would be a great combination to get. You get the Algeth'ar Puzzle Box out of Algeth'ar Academy. You can get that from Mythic Plus, and it can go all the way up to 522 at the end of a dungeon if you get a hero track, or if you get a myth track one from your vault, it can go up to 528. The one downfall is you can't put it into a macro, because it does take a couple seconds to cast it. So how you want to do that is, let's say about 3 seconds left on a pull timer, or if you're in a Mythic Plus, for example, and you're running up to a boss, you might just say, hey, give me a couple of seconds, or just start pre-casting it when your tank is running up to the boss or the fight or whatever it is, and then it just does obscene amount of damage for both AoE and for single target. And then there's a couple of other options. Unfortunately, one of them is also a 3-minute cooldown, which is going to be the Irideus Fragment, which we'll talk about next. But the second one, which is going to be the Ashes trinket, it goes really nicely because it's a 2-minute cooldown as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at that Irideus Fragment. And the next trinket, like I said, is the Irideus Fragment. And this trinket comes from the Halls of Infusion dungeon, and this is a really, really amazing 3-minute trinket. It's great for single target, it's great for AoE. There's no drawback, I guess, except for the fact that it's a 3-minute trinket. I really wish this was 2-minute, otherwise this would be a, hey, no-brainer, pick these 2 trinkets and you're done type thing for Season 4. But for this trinket, it gives you Mastery whenever you equip it, which is never a bad thing. But whenever you use the on-use trinket, it gives you over 10,000 of your main stat for 20 seconds. Now, the one downfall is every time you use an ability, you lose some of that agility, so it won't be nearly as strong at the very end of your True Shot, for example. But the amazing thing about Neltharion's Call to Dominance and this trinket is, like I said, one gives you 10,000 main stat, the other one can give you up to 10,000 main stat. That's crazy amounts of your main stat, which never hits diminished returns, where whenever you pick up the puzzle box, the Algeth'ar Puzzle Box, you do hit diminished returns, so you don't get as good of a value. This will be personally the build I want to go for at least for AoE. I might be putting a Grieftorch in there for single target, but this is going to be my build, and this is going to be the items that I'm gunning for. I already have half of them, so I just need to get my Irideus Fragment. So let's check out the next trinket, which is going to be a trinket that's a 2-minute on use, which you can have up for single target for AoE, and you can have it up for every single True Shot. And like I said, if you're looking for a trinket that's going to be up every single True Shot, something that you can put into a macro, you don't have to worry about min-maxing and just forget about it, the Ashes of the Embersoul is going to be for you. This trinket is a 2-minute on use, so it'll be up for every True Shot, like I said, and then it gives you base haste whenever you equip the trinket, so couple that with Neltharion's, you're going to have almost all the haste you ever need, and then whenever you use the trinket, it will give you a hefty amount of your main stat, and then that decays every 2 seconds, and then after the 20 seconds, which is the duration of the buff, it will basically burn you out, and then you get no haste value from the trinket. So it's like you don't have a trinket at all for a minute after that. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest with you. That burnout phase does last for 60 seconds, and then if you about die, it can proc the trinket where you get all of that value, all of that big main stat, without having to worry about the burnout. But this is a great trinket if you want to just put it into a macro and forget about it, and I know that there's a few people like Bo, for example, that really champion this trinket over in my Discord. So let's go ahead and check out some other options for your hunter. And now let's take a look at trinkets that are going to be great for primarily single target encounters. The first one's going to be the Manic Grieftorch, which drops from the first raid, which is the Vault of Incarnates, and the Diurna fight, which is the penultimate boss. And the way this trinket works is it gives you a bunch of your main stat, and then also you get an on-use effect, which happens every 2 minutes. And it does fire damage, and then also it just sprays a crap ton of damage on a single target, and can go ahead and do a little bit of damage to other things, but it's not guaranteed around it. And this is going to sim to be one of the best trinkets for you for single target, and it actually gets like S++ tier if people die, because it is a 2-minute cooldown. You have to kind of like load it up, so to speak, to do all the damage with it. But then if somebody dies when it's on cooldown, 90 seconds or 75% of the cooldown that's remaining is refunded. It just gives you 90 seconds off. So it's just really, really strong for progression. It's not as good after the fact, but if you have people that are going to die during an encounter and you can get even like 1 or 2 of these extra procs out there, this becomes the best trinket, at least for single target. But the nice thing is for Season 4, they do allow you to cast it while moving that 2-second channel. So that is something that was a very nice quality of life bit that was added by Blizzard. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other single target trinkets. And the next single target trinket is going to be the Dragonfire Bomb Dispenser. Try saying that 3 times fast. I've screwed this up like 3 times now. But this trinket comes from the Ziskarn fight in Aberrus. And this trinket is great because it gets only better when you crit more, and we are critting all the time. In fact, once you stack up True Shot, you stack up your base amount of crit and Bullseye, we're critting almost 100% of the time at the end of boss fights. It's crazy right now. But this trinket is great because it's a don't worry about it trinket. You can literally macro and on use of it in every single one of your abilities, and you just throw bombs. That's it. It just adds a bomb to your target that explodes after 3 seconds and does a bunch of fire damage. The great thing is it does a little bit of AoE, but you don't want to run it in an AoE fight, but every time you critically strike 60 times, you get another bomb, and there are 3 charges. So obviously, it has a 20 seconds in between each time you use one of the bombs, but if you can just constantly crit, it's a stacking thing that you can keep a weak aura of to see how many times you've crit, but you can just get bonus bombs constantly, and you'll probably be shooting one out every 20 seconds and increasing that single target damage. This one sims very, very strong, and it only gets better the more you crit. I'm sure there's a cap on it though, because if you're just hitting that 20 seconds every time and there's an extra bomb waiting for you, it does kind of feel bad, but I don't know that we're ever going to get to that point. But these were the main trinkets. They had some really great AoE single target, and then some really great just single target trinkets. But we're going to go check out my favorite trinket of this list. It's not going to appear on any big list or anything you'll see on Wowhead, Icy Veins, anything like that. It's my favorite pick though, so let's go ahead and check it out. And last but not least, you guys knew this would appear here, which is going to be the Beacon to the Beyond. So Zaft and I, for all of Season 2 practically, were Beacon to the Beyond gamers. And basically the way this trinket works is it gives you a large amount of mastery just as an equip effect, and then every 2 minutes and 30 seconds you can create a spirit bomb from hell, basically, and just absolutely annihilate foes with it. It does more damage the more targets you hit, up to 5 targets, but it does split the damage between each one. Now, this trinket's not going to sim the best, and it's more of a, hey, I want to go do some world quests and absolutely annihilate some things. I just love this trinket, but this trinket can be surprisingly competitive under the right circumstances. So for example, if you can guarantee this thing crit all the time, it's significantly better than if it doesn't. I mean, duh, that makes sense. But this thing can hit for over 2 million damage whenever it crits. In fact, if you have True Shot up, this is how I would use it. You have a base amount of crits. Let's say you have 45% crit. You have 10% bonus chance to crit thanks to your True Shot, and let's say you're in your bullseye range, right? So it's an additional 30% chance to crit. You have almost 100% chance. I can do math. That's 45 and 10 is 55. Plus 30, 85% chance for this thing to crit whenever you're in bullseye range. And if that's the case, you can do like up to 15% of your total damage with just like 2 uses of this trinket. I actually used to do this in Season 2. So what I would do is I would start my encounter, right? And I would not use it right away. I would let my True Shot stack up completely, so it's going to stack up, giving me that extra crit chance. And in the last couple of seconds of it, I'm going to use this trinket because during True Shot, you also do 20% bonus crit damage as well. So this thing was hitting and doing literally like 10 to 12% of my total DPS, and I was using it twice in a boss fight. Since boss fights are pretty fast right now, for Raid, for example, Mythic Plus is a different situation. You just send it anytime you can. But I would try to put it in the last couple seconds of my True Shot, and if I can get some big crits, it can literally do 10 to 12% of your total damage. But this, like I said, is not, you're not going to find this on many lists. This is a fun pick, but if I have extra bullion and I have am I going to pick out one piece of Mog, or I'm going to pick, or two pieces of Mog, or I'm going to pick this trinket, you better believe I'm picking this trinket. But I love this trinket to death, and I hope you guys will at least get some value out of this video. So thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. So it'll probably be my last official guide component video that I'll post for this season, unless I see some updates that you guys, or if you guys have other videos you guys would like to see me post, just let me know. But which trinkets are you guys going to be going for? I personally am going to go for the lazy build, so I'm going to go with my Neltharion's Call to Dominance and then the Irideus Fragment, and then if I get a puzzle box I'll probably use that in the meantime. But let me know what you guys think. Best of luck in Season 4. Got some really great items at our Marksman Hunter disposal right now. I hope you guys will do all of the damage. Best of luck in your vaults these next coming weeks, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.